Hi everyone, Trina here with another flip through of a junk journal that I made. This is the second ever junk journal that I made. This is a top-down view of it. This one is called Faith, and it's number 2 because it's the second one I made. Again, second journal ever that I made. I used this paper pack from, I think, Michaels by Craftsmart called Hope and Faith. It's actually cardstock. Alright, so on the side, the spine, I made this tassel with some beads and gems, charms hanging from it. It's just attached with a binder clip so that it comes off easily so it can be moved out of the way. As you can see here, there are 3 signatures and they have been stitched in. This was made using an old encyclopedia that I gutted. I held on to the cover and tried to preserve the integrity of it as much as possible. This measures, let's see, about 10, a little over, about 10 inches, almost 9.5 maybe, by a little over 7.25. All right. The closure is just made with some stretchy lace and some gold bias tape. Okay, that comes off. I did put a little bit of that stretchy lace on the thing here, and you can see through it and you can still see the original gold print of the encyclopedia. Okay, here is a frame that I used, might be a Tim Holtz frame, I'm not sure, that I painted gold. I did put some acetate in here to serve as like a picture frame. There's a picture of Mary and baby Jesus, and a little book plate here that simply says journal. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. On the inside, I did try to preserve the end pages. So I just folded this one back, did a little bit of punching, and put a little strip there from the paper pack, Glory to the Newborn King. There's a little pocket here. Can't really hold much because it's not very thick, it's pretty tight. But I did put a little letter from the bookmaker in here. I did put some of that stretchy lace on the spine. Underneath you can see where I preserved the end papers. I did put some cardboard there to help strengthen that part of the book because it's pretty thin. The spine, that's what I'm trying to say. Alright, first signature. Some of that cardstock from that paper pack. Some resume paper that I punched the edges and inked it up. Here is a picture of Christ crucified. The reason that this is called Faith is because there is a lot of faith pictures throughout. Alright, this is a pocket, and inside I made this tag. Just has a little paper clip on there if you want to clip anything on, and another little tag here inside with a little pocket there. Okay, and that tucks back in. And there is room here on the edge of the picture to tuck something once it's folded if you have something that's thin enough. And this is just made with a mat that I used. It's kind of like a part of a glassine bag, but really it's a baker's mat, I think, that I used to work on. And I just did a little stamping and painted some gold paint on there. This is a piece of paper that is very, very old. It's over 100 years old. Ledger paper. I did a little bit of punching and inking around the edges. Most of the paper in here is either tea or tea and coffee dyed. This page is blank. A little bit of lace on the edge. Little safety pin with a little bead on there. Next page blank. Here's part of a brown glassine bag. Inside I have this little booklet. Just unties. And inside is a little signature that I stitched in. And it just has some random pieces of scrap papers that can be journaled on. Alright, I'll just lay that there for now. It's just a little piece of another paper that you'll see here in a little bit right there. You could do some journaling on it if you wanted to. Here I did a top tuck with banner flags, and this is a card with some paper on the back. There's some mica powder on here too. Can't really see it on camera, I don't think, and you can barely see it in real life, but has a little bit of sparkle to it. Very faint. This side I left somewhat blank, that way if you wanted to put pictures or anything there, you could do so. Okay, a little bit of stenciling here. This is the center of the signature. I left the strings long so that if you want to add any little charms and let them hang out the bottom, you can. Or you could trim it down. Alright, another page with a little bit of trim there. A bulb pin with just a little bead. Next page. This is a very old piece of paper. I'd say it's at least 120 years old. I did a little punching there on that corner. Okay. Another part of the bag here. It's empty, but you could put some little mementos in there. Did a little bit of stamping here. On this side there is a 1, 2, 3 triple pocket, but the triple pocket has a pocket on the front. Just put this little tag in there that I inked up a little bit. In here, some baking paper that I made into a little pouch. And there's just this little blank card inside for journaling. Okay, next pocket, just a little card that I inked up a little bit. It's blank on the inside for journaling. And back here, some book pages and what the Bible has to say about faith. And there are some little Bible verses there. Okay. Next, more of that vintage paper. Another part of that, of the mat that I used, but has some lines on. You could technically journal on it, especially on this side because it doesn't have that sheen that this side has. More of the piece of resume paper. And here is the back of our signature, and I'll only open one of these, but each one has a paper clip with a different bead on it and a different picture, of course, but aside from that, they're the same. And they just pull out like this, so you have some extra journaling space, and you could technically journal on the back of them as well. Okay, and the paper clips are just here to help keep them closed. Alright, second signature. The beginning of it, there's a little pocket there, and inside is this little card. Just put a little decorative item there with some lace, and that flips back. And these are index cards that are coffee dyed or tea dyed, and I scored them so that they will flip over easily, so you could open it up and do some journaling. A little bit of tissue paper here. Another pocket out of a bag inside. It's just another card with some paper on the back. You could add a picture if you like. You could do some journaling on the back. You could also journal on the front if you had the right color pen. Okay, moving along. Here, paper clipped on the side here, is this doily. A little bit of embellishment, and I made it into a sort of a little booklet. It's been stitched together, and it's just a few pieces that have been inked up of tea-stained paper, tea-dyed paper. Okay. Put that back on. The next page, as you can see, there's some stenciling there. And this is a little triple envelope. They're stuck together. And each one just has a little sort of tag in it that I made for journaling. And this is an envelope. I left it open so that you could stick some mementos in there. And you could really journal on there if you want to. This is part of another picture that you'll see shortly. It's attached to this envelope. It's not really a pocket or anything, but there is space for journaling. Little gold and red trim there. I think there might be some black in there as well. I tried to put some glue on the edges because this really wanted to unravel, but it's pretty stable now, I believe. Alright, this is an envelope, as I said. It has a card in here, blank on both sides for journaling. And again, you could journal on the envelope itself. Okay, here's a little card, blank on the back. Unfortunately, this was printed onto tracing paper, and you can see the glue that I used around the edges, but it is what it is. There it is. And this is more of that really vintage paper. Down here, this isn't something that I invented, but just a little tuck spot that opens up. I happen to call it a PS pocket. I don't think that's what they're called, but I call it a PS pocket because it's almost like an afterthought to what you've journaled up there. Alright, moving along, more blank paper. Here is the end of a little white envelope, which you'll see the rest of it in a bit. I did a little bit of stamping there. I made a little seal on here. It's just a piece of tea-stained paper. I put some lines on it, inked it up, to be used for journaling. More blank paper, again the center of signature with the long strings. Some lace trim here with a little bulb pin and a bead. Here's the other side of that white envelope. Inside I made this little pocket. It holds 3 things. Here is just a little booklet with some couple of loose pieces of scrap paper. And this again is more book, these are more book pages that I distressed. And Jesus is your Savior. And again, some Bible verses on here. And then in the final pocket here, it says my prayer list. So you could list your prayers, and it is double-sided. And it's a little bit longer than that. I folded it at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to tuck that back in there. Next, here's a really old piece of paper that I just folded in half. Well, not exactly in half, but just folded over. And here's a multiple pocket here. This is some more of that baking paper. I stitched it on because when I glued it, it didn't want to stay. So I did a little bit of stitching with some baker's twine. Just put a couple of little cardstock cards in there. It's pretty flimsy cardstock, but good for journaling. You could also journal on this because it is just a piece of paper, as you can tell, out of a spiral bound notebook. Here's a double tag. There's some stamping on it. I don't know if it comes across well on camera or not, but you could write over the top of it. It opens up, and more stamping on the back, and both sides have some little lacy trim on the top. Pretty fuzzy, actually. Alright, continuing. Picture of Mary and Christ. Here's another little envelope. I did some stamping on it. Put something inside. Another blank page with some stamping. Inside of this part of this little bag here is this envelope that I made. I made that little wax seal and put it on. Did a little bit of punching there. And I left it so that it could be opened, so it could be used as a little journal spot. Okay, a little bit of tissue paper. Here's another picture of Christ, belly band, and inside just some blank lined paper that I put inside. It's held together with a ribbon, a gold ribbon. A little bit of punching there at the top. Alright, moving on to the third signature. I did some stitching and stitched part of a bag in there. Little beads dangling from the baker's twine that I stitched it on with. Here's a piece of paper that I folded up to make a 5-pocket little deal here. Just a tag, another tag. In the very center of it is yet another tag. On the other side, 2 more tags. And this one. Okay, stick that back in. Here's a little pocket made out of some paper, some of that stretchy lace, nice little vintage, I don't know what it's called here, little Bible verse, and a little tag inside, blank on the back, just a few pieces of paper here, I think 3. Yep. Okay, a little piece of flare there. That is a picture of Christ with his crown of thorns. I don't know if you can see it very well. And it says Jesus on it. Sorry if that didn't focus. Alright, more stenciling here, vintage paper. Another blank piece with this pretty little trim on the edge, a bulb pin with a bead. And here, I'm not so happy with this, but it's there, it's made, it's done. It is stitched into the signature. It's a piece of cardstock that I made multiple pockets out of. This just has a little bit of a Bible verse there. Flip it over, there's another pocket here with another one. And inside of this pocket is this little booklet that I made up. It just has some lined paper. Kind of a wrinkly piece of paper here that's been punched. Picture of the Last Supper that is actually a pocket. Has this little tag in it. Next page, more resume paper. It's been stamped. Again, center of the signature with the long strings, to do with as you will. There's a teeny tiny pocket here that has the rest of that picture there. And this is just a little triple pocket that I made. Just some blank paper inside. Same thing over here, just some paper scraps. And in the center is this little card you could use for journaling. On this side there's a cross, over here a little heart. Okay, another part of that wrinkled piece of paper. And this is the opposite side of that tuck thing with a tag there. I didn't get rid of the to and from, I just figured I would leave it there. Inside is another envelope that I made, little key charm on the end, and this is just used to hold it closed. Again, I did some stamping. It is openable completely. It's blank in the inside, and there are some pages out of an old Bible that was being discarded by the library because it was damaged. But I took some of the pages, and they're pretty thin, and it was a pretty old Bible, and just distressed them, and tucked them in there. Alright. I don't know if I mentioned the cover is from an old set of encyclopedias that I got from the library from, I think, about 1980. Alright, the opposite side has another tag. There's an upper tuck spot here with an envelope that I did a little embellishment on. Dictionary definition of faith. The inside there's a tag, blank on both sides for journaling. You can see I'm struggling to keep this thing open. She's a very chunky girl. Alright, more blank pages. Over here, there's a little tuck spot back here. I made this tag to go inside of there. And this unties. Pretty little embellishment here. And it opens up like this for journaling, and then you can journal on this side of it. And once it is closed, you can actually use part of this as another tuck spot, I suppose. A couple little tuck spots there. If you had little cards or something that you wanted to stick in, you could do so. Like right here and right here. Okay, and the back of the signature. Another one of those banner top tucks. And I put this card in there. Some paper on the back of it for journaling. And technically you could journal on the back of the signature as well. In the very back there's this card. It's kind of hard, made up out of some cardstock, so that you can put it underneath your pages while you're writing and you have a pretty sturdy surface to write on. It's been done with Mod Podge, and again there's another one of those pictures of Jesus crucified. Okay, back here, again with the end papers folded over, there's just a blank piece of dyed paper here. It's a full sheet. And then tucked in here is this that you can journal on, add pictures, whatever you want to do. Alright, and that is it for this flip through. Again, this is Faith number 2. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.